Here we go with 48 and 24. We're continuing on through the night. We want to welcome Jason Valade into the studio via Google Hangout. Jason, welcome.
Good morning, or night, or is there a sense of where you are in the day process?
I saw daylight at about 6 p.m. Last night, and I didn't realize that the sun existed. So
Yeah.
it was weird to see like actual sunlight because there's no windows in here. So.
Oh yeah.
Jason, why don't you introduce yourself for those who haven't had a chance to meet you yet?
Okay, so hi, I'm Jason Valade. Depending on how long you've known and loved TechSmith, you may know me under a lot of different headings. I am currently an innovation strategist with TechSmith. For those who have been with 48 and 24 for the long haul, you probably met Kate Ryan yesterday morning at 9-ish and Troy Stein last night around 10:30. That is the role I'm fulfilling right now for TechSmith. It gives me a tremendous opportunity to go out and talk to cool people that are current users and find out how things are going and what could be better, and to find out things from people that are not current users and what they're looking for in their software solutions to make their lives easier. So,
nice pitch. Nicely done.
Thank you.
So, but we're not going to talk about innovation strategists, are we? That's not why you're here this morning.
Correct. That's correct. So
in your previous life, though, you've not always been at TechSmith.
No.
Even though your
believe
job
it or
titles
not.
are like 20, you've got like 20 different job titles at TechSmith.
This is true, and I actually celebrate 2 years in May, and it feels like it's been my lifetime, and not in a bad way. It just no, as you alluded to, Matt, my grown-up job before TechSmith, I was a classroom educator, an elementary school teacher in Southwest Michigan. Taught third grade for a couple years in a little town called Gobles, Michigan, which is northwest of Kalamazoo, and then spent 4 years in Mattawan Consolidated Schools just west of Kalamazoo. So that's two references to Kalamazoo. It does exist. I am a 1/16 of a mile from it right now in Portage.
The connection, Jason actually taught my nieces.
Yeah. So this is a pretty cool thing. I was a technology teacher for their later elementary school, so I taught 900 third, fourth, and fifth graders, and it just happened to be at the time that I was having heavy conversations over social media with a good portion of the TechSmithies, and we just made this connection that Matt's niece was in one of my classes, and so we had to take some pictures back and forth and do a little good-natured ribbing.
Absolutely. So, Jason, you actually have gone through this process where, as an educator, and I don't know what it's like for a lot of educators, because obviously, I think educators tend to be very passionate about what they do. They're very committed to the cause, even though I know there's lots of struggles and it can be difficult. But you've made this transition from being an educator in the classroom, working with students, working with other teachers, to being a TechSmithy. And let's talk about that a little bit, because I'm sure that's been an interesting road to travel.
It has, and it actually comes up quite often when I talk to educator friends and family members about making that change and what it was like. It got to the point, I love teaching. I love the students. I love the interaction. I had a super supportive administration. I loved the freedom I had to be creative with the students, to do cool things, to meet their goals. And it got to the point where I needed to be able to do more. And you can only do so much when you're physically confined by your classroom. Now, obviously, with my PLN, my personal learning network, all throughout Michigan and all throughout the United States, I had opportunities to bring in outside ideas. But I just felt like there was a way that I could share what awesomeness I thought I had and the awesomeness that I'm developing with more people. And in fact, when I made the decision and had the tremendous opportunity to join TechSmith, it was in the middle of a school year, which is atypical. I mean, it's not normal. So when I was explaining to my students that why I was leaving, I simply said, the cool stuff we do in the classroom here, well, I'm going to be able to get to do that with kids all over the country and all over the world. And that made it okay for them, because the experiences they were having were positive enough that they wanted to share. And that was very moving to me at the time. It was really cool to be able to know that I wasn't going far, but that I was going to still be able to enhance their educational lives in some way.
That's very cool, and we know that's got, middle school year. It's always got to be a hard transition. So as you've made this transition, as you look back, are there things now that you've been at TechSmith for a while that you think, man, here's the things that I've learned that will help teachers everywhere do a better job than, not that to say you were doing a bad job, but just to do a better job at what they're doing in the classroom, that now that you know this other side of the coin?
So there's two major things that I would say that I've learned. The one major thing is you're not alone. As a classroom teacher, you're not alone. If you have some idea that you think is wacky, crazy, out of the box, insane, no one's going to ever let you do it, there's probably a couple other people that have the same, if not similar, ideas to you. And you need to be able to reach out and find those people. And before, it was maybe you'd get to attend a conference once a year, and then you do oh no, let's keep in touch, or let's get up for dinner, and that stuff doesn't always happen. So with the advent of social media networks, especially Twitter has been the ultimate gateway tool into the world of professional learning networks for teachers. So knowing that you're not alone, and knowing that there are other people out there, find a way to connect. And if you don't know how to connect, I think my Twitter handle is probably sitting on the screen. Reach out to me. I'll connect you to whoever I can, because there's way too many cool people out there doing cool things that want to be a part of what you're doing. And the second major thing I've learned, I believe, is there are companies, and this is going to sound like a tremendous TechSmith plug, so go ahead and put the caveat on this however you want. There are companies out there that care about the success of you as a teacher and your students. It's not all about a bottom dollar. It's about making changes that are real, that benefit people for the growth of themselves personally, educationally, professionally. We are all about making other people look cool because we know they're cool. And it's not because they're using any particular product or doing things a certain way. It's because they were given the opportunity to try, and knowing that it was okay to fail and try again. So, I had that belief of TechSmith that they were a company that cared, and it's been more than true, beyond my wildest dreams. But then working with other companies that we do as TechSmithies proves that to me, that there are good people out there that want to support the success of the kids and the students and the teachers and the parents and all the communities involved in school.
Well, I know.
And beyond school.
Well, I know just in the educators that we've talked to throughout this event, I've just felt so inspired by the amazing capacity that they have, and frankly, how it's inspiring to see that they're able to take our tool and other tools and make good use of that time to help the students to grow in these amazing ways, and it's just really inspiring to see that and feel the power that. There's a lot of awesome educators out there, and they need good advocates outside of the classroom to tell their story, and hopefully we're able to do that a little bit, even through events like this, and we get to hear, like we heard from Kern Kelly and what he's doing, and I just like, man, I want my kids to do that. And then Alice Keeler is talking about personal learning networks and how that helps educators, and just so many amazing educators are doing so many amazing things. We can't even highlight them all. So.
What's cool about Kern is it's not all about him. It's about his tech Sherpas. It's about the kids teaching. I believe you're going to have the awesome opportunity to talk to Dr. Roland Rios later.
Yep.
It's not about him. It's about his kids. It's amazing. And you talk about being able to utilize tools. We were speaking with Lee Lefevre from Common Craft earlier.
Yep.
One of his first videos they put out as a test to see if this would even work, the wikis in plain English. The only reason I was able to bring wikis into Mattawan Consolidated Schools and teach it to the teachers was that simple 3-minute video that conveyed everything they needed to know. It was kind of their aha moment. You're always looking for that for the kids. This was the teacher's aha moment. Like, I get it. I can do that. That's not too bad. That sounded pretty deep.
It's pretty deep for 4:30 in the morning, Jason.
I know. And I will tell you this: it is my goal to come by and be there in an hour and a half. I'm up. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna try and get into the studio this morning. So
if you do, it's freezing cold. Be careful out there, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
We would love to have you sit in and join us. We've got a great lineup coming up still. Why don't we wrap up the recording? But I got a question for you before we do that.
Sure.
So Jason, as someone who's made this transition, knowing that it's a difficult decision, there's lots of probably lots of thought that went into making that decision.
Mm-hmm.
If there's are other educators out there that are looking to make a similar transition where they want to help on the broader stage, not just, and not that there's nothing wrong with helping in their classroom, but someone
Mm-hmm.
wants to do that. What is one or two things that you've learned that you wish you would have known making that switch?
At the very least, reach out to someone who's done it. Believe it or not, as my story came out, and I'm not some magical, mystical person. It's just a choice I made, an opportunity I had, right? I've had a lot of educators reach out to me, not just because of their interest, say, in TechSmith, but they're like, okay, you did something scary. You left the profession to do something different. It's kind of like a person that maybe has worked a job on a assembly line their whole life, that's what they know how to do, and they do it really well. To step outside of that and go, okay, now I'm going to design fishing poles, or now I'm going to be a computer programmer. It's just something different. Reach out to someone who's done it, and I'll put myself on the line for that one too. I'm happy to have those conversations. As you said, it took time. It took a lot of thought, a lot of reflection, and a lot of me going to people that I trusted, including my administrators at the time. I was very transparent. I had that kind of relationship with them. So definitely reach out and make sure it is for you. Make sure this isn't I'm having a bad week, it's time to step out, or oh my gosh, parent-teacher conferences, why won't they understand what I'm trying to convey? Make sure it's for you. Because in the classroom, you can do tremendous good, and we believe in you, and that's a lot of what we're behind at TechSmith. You're going to do a good job, and we're going to do everything in our power to help you. But if you decide to make a change, we're there for you too.
Fantastic. Jason, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I'm sure there's so many more things that we could talk about. We're going to wrap the video. Stay on, though. We're going to chat a little bit more.
Thanks for having me.
You bet, always. We'll be back with more 48 and 24. I think I'm still saying that right. It's getting harder every time. We'll be back after this.